Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So this one has kind of been months in waiting after like my last interview with Caleb, which again was months ago. He did discuss that they were doing a custom PC configurator, and recently, I'm not 100% sure when they did release this feature on their website, but they finally did. They released the ability to click on the little custom PCs little mark right here and configure your own brand new gaming PC. Now, Lyte PC is known for value, and I think that I've kind of covered a bunch of different value companies out there, and one of the ones that I've recommended a lot for just having a custom PC has been CLX, and we'll be kind of comparing them at the end, but it's not really going to be a huge thing. I just want to talk about the overall value of what they're offering here, and what kind of PCs that you can kind of put together. But before we get into the video, guys, make sure that if you do end up enjoying the video and watching to the end, please leave a like. It really helps me out get into people's search feeds and recommended feeds, as well as subscribing also helps me out a lot in being able to get my channel numbers up. Alright, so let's get into the video. So when we go to the custom PC tabs, it's a step-by-step process. You will choose your case, then you will choose all of the different parts, your CPU, your motherboard, your GPU, your RAM, your power supply, CPU cooler, and both of your storage configurations. And in terms of case selection, they have a very wide variety. They have most of the PC cases that they use on their standard pre-builds, like the one from the Hyper, as well as other ones that you may notice from their different PCs. But it looks like a big company that they have been working in conjunction with is a company called GameDS. Now, I've seen this company before, especially on CLX, and I'm pretty sure these guys are just offering really good wholesale pricing on their parts. So I think that's why companies like CLX and Lyte Tech will use this for their PCs, because it costs them a lot less to get these guys' parts, so they can offer better value to the customer. So today we're going to be picking a PC with some pretty decent RGB. We're going with the GameDS Talos E1. Now, this is a $65 option, which I don't think is too expensive, and I definitely think it's a decent form factor, so I think a lot of people are going to be picking this case just based off of the aesthetics and the price. Now, once you go to your parts list, you can choose between an AMD or an Intel CPU. As far as AMD goes, you can go all the way down to an Athlon 3000G and all the way up to a Ryzen 9 3900X. Whereas Intel, you can get a old Pentium for $79, as well as an older Core i3, all the way up to a fairly modern Core i7 9700. Now, with both of these CPU options, those are going to change what motherboards you are going to be able to pick. If you're choosing an older series Ryzen chip, like a Ryzen 3 1200, you're not going to be able to use any of the 500 series motherboards. As well with Intel, if you're going to be using some of their older CPUs, you're not going to get the option to use some of their better motherboards. Now, one thing that Lyte does a pretty decent job of, which is kind of stupid that I don't see this from a lot of other companies, is when you are selecting your parts, they scale it up very easy for the customer to see. So what I mean by that is by going to the right, you are going up in performance tier by tier, and therefore your price is ascending, but not in a crazy amount, so people can really work with their budgets. And it goes with all of your CPUs. It goes with AMD and Intel, and today we're going to be going with Ryzen just because they offer so much better price to performance than what Intel can really offer. So we're going to pick a pretty staple CPU, a Ryzen 5 2600, and something that I've noticed is the part price really isn't that different than what it costs for someone else to go out and buy it themselves. A Ryzen 5 2600 goes for around about $120 to $140 right now. As well, the Ryzen 5 3600 is around that $200 price range, which is really what it costs when you are going to go out and buy your own CPU. And it seems to be the same story with all of their CPUs. They're going to be around the same price that it's going to cost for you to go out and buy it yourself. Now, in terms of motherboard selection, the lower end the CPU you go, the lower end motherboards you are able to choose from, and vice versa. So since we are going with the Ryzen 5 2600, I don't want to pick a terrible motherboard. I want to give us one that is going to give us some decent upgradability in the future. So today we'll be going with the Gigabyte B450 Aorus. And they also do the same thing with their GPUs, which is something that I think is going to help out a lot of people. An RX 470 isn't necessarily worse than a GTX 1060, though a lot of people might think it is. it's just kind of scales in performance depending on what titles you have and what kind of games you are playing. So we've got the option between a 470 all the way up to an NVIDIA RTX 2080 Ti. Now hopefully they do change this once the new NVIDIA GPUs come out, because I definitely think that those GPUs are going to be a shock to the market for most distributors and most OEMs and probably most enthusiasts who are looking to go and buy a new system or a new GPU. But today we're going to be going with a pretty decent GPU, probably one of the ones that I would recommend for a lot of people, and that would be the AMD RX 580. This is a great 1080p card. It performs well, and this particular model is a Sapphire model, and they always offer pretty good cooling. They'll be quiet. I've loved Sapphire for all of my AMD cards. They just offer really good cooling for all of their cards. Now for our memory, you don't want to have slow memory when it comes to Ryzen, so we're going to be going with 16 gigabytes of 3000 megahertz memory. Now you want to pick a pretty decent PSU. Now all of these are actually RGB except once you get up to the Corsair ones, which I guess is a cool thing for some people if you are really interested in that sort of thing. But we're going to be going with a 650 watt 80 plus bronze model. I think this is going to offer us some great upgradability in the future, as well as giving us some pretty good power output as of now. Now we're just going to go with the base AMD stock cooler, which is not going to charge us anything more. The AMD stock coolers are more than sufficient, and they actually look pretty decent. We're going to go with a 1 terabyte SSD. We don't really need any secondary storage. I think 1 terabyte should be good enough for us. And then something else that I think is really cool about this website is that you can install Windows 10 with an unactivated license. Now basically what this means is you're just going to get the regular Windows 10 download. I assume this is going to be Windows 10 Pro, but you can change it yourself if you would like. But a lot of companies really don't give you that option, and I actually really like this. So the main reason why I really like this is because you can find Windows 10 keys for extremely cheap on eBay, and I've never been scammed out of all of the tens of keys that I've purchased on eBay. It's usually fairly safe, and I guess if you do get scammed, you're out $5, but I think a whole lot of people would rather lose $5 on, maybe one key than having to pay an extra $100 for an activated version of Windows 10. So I think that this is a great option that Lyte actually put into their PCs. It's going to be a great option for people who are just looking to get more performance for their money, and they don't want to spend it on an operating system key. Now in total, this system comes out to around $1,000, and they do add on a $99 build fee, and you're getting around $861 part price. Now I usually don't make PC part picker lists when I'm comparing OEM machines, mostly because I think it's kind of an unfair comparison. I think that you should compare OEM machines to OEM machines because again, it's always going to be cheaper to build your own system. But I actually want to see how much cheaper it would be to build your own system. Alright guys, so for this comparison, I did have to change one thing, and that was the processor. I did change it to a Ryzen 5 3600, just a little bit more money on here, but in terms of the PC part picker build, we got everything on here. So when we threw in that processor, it brought up our final total to basically $1,000, and the parts price would be $900. Now when it came to our PC part picker build system, without Windows 10, we came up to $820. So we're roughly undershooting it by around $200, which is really what I would expect from OEM systems, as well as just having a custom PC part builder. But where I think the real test comes with is comparing it against other companies in the industry. And so today we put together our very own CLX gaming PC with the exact same specs, exact same motherboard, I think a little bit different RAM, same card. It's actually a little bit of a different model. It's by Gigabyte, but it should perform around the exact same. And we got roughly the same memory. It's just got RGB on it, same memory timing and everything like that. As well as power supply, it's actually the exact same power supply. And then for our OS storage, we have that. And for our OS storage, we have the same 1 terabyte SSD. We don't have anything for our secondary storage, and then for everything else, it's all the exact same. Now, CLX's computer comes out to around $50 more than what the custom PC configurator on here is going to cost you, but that is also without a Windows 10 license. While this one does come with a Windows 10 license, it is a Windows 10 Home, which, I mean, personally, I don't know a whole lot of difference. I think there's just like 1 or 2 more professional features that are in there. I'm sure it's really nothing that makes a whole lot of difference just to the everyday gamer, but I definitely think that, the $50 more actually kind of finds its value here at CLX. And the reason why I think CLX actually actually should kind of have a little bit more of a cost, is just straight up the amount of stuff you're able to pick from is far more than what is on Lyte Tech and mostly any other companies, and still why I recommend CLX is just the straight amount of things that you are able to pick and the amount of things that you are able to fine tune on the computer. If you guys want us to go see that entire video, I talk about the overclocking stuff that they are able to do, you know, all of the things that you're able to pick from on their PCs, which again I think is amazing. The card should be popping up here in a second up in the top right corner if you guys want to go check that out. I definitely think it is a worthwhile watch. But that doesn't mean that the Lyte Tech PC actually just eats dirt and you shouldn't buy it, because I definitely see the appeal here. And the main appeal here is that $100 deduction that you can get off of your PC, which is that Windows 10 installed unactivated. And I think it is something that a lot of people should opt for. I think that it is an amazing money saver, and I think that it should be something that a lot more companies put into it, because I definitely don't think that they are paying $100 to get these licenses. But I definitely think that this option really makes light gaming PCs really competitive, because just taking out that $100 allows you to add in so many different things. You can upgrade your CPU, your GPU, or any other part that you might think might be a little bit lacking. You can just add in that extra $100 into some other part of your PC. And if you do end up wanting to activate Windows, getting rid of the little watermark that shows up down there after you have not activated it for a couple of days, you can just go on eBay, get a code for $5 and just throw it onto your PC and you'll be good and ready. So here's my quick little summary. If you guys are looking for the best price to performance, I would say go with Lyte Tech if you're going to want to customize your gaming PC. If you want to have the most options, the most expandability, and the best overall selection in terms of parts, I think that CLX is the way to go. Both are amazing choices, but it's really cool to see light gaming come out here and actually command a part of the market that I don't think that a lot of companies can really get into as well as light gaming did. Now, I am sure there are some things that I skipped over. I'm sure there are some pretty decent configurations that you can kind of put together on here to kind of min-max your performance with these computers, but you know, I'm not really going to sit down here and go through all the intricacies of each part selection and all that kind of stuff. It's just too time consuming, and these videos are already time consuming as it is. So I'm just going to leave it at that. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to join the channel Discord. We love to answer your guys' tech questions. As well, you guys can leave them down in the comments. I'll try to get to them. I don't get to every comment. It's just really not a feasible thing for me to do. And again, if you guys ended up enjoying the video, leaving a like really helps me out. You guys can go and visit both of these companies that I talked about, CLX and Lyte PC. If you guys want to go and check out these guys' custom configurators, you can try out each one and figure out which one is the best for you. As well, you know, I would definitely check out the video that I did on CLX if you guys want to see more about them. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.